Today is the day. Gonna go ahead and yank this nasty ass 302 out. Got the new engine stand, cheapo, $49 Harbor Freight edition. Got the motor mounts undone. Got all the torque converter bolts out. Power steering lines out. Got the fuel rail off the intake. I didn't have the special tools to get those lines out from there, so I just pulled the injectors out. Some of them came off from the rail. I'll get to that later. I just want to get this engine out, get it cleaned up. Got all the gaskets here for the rebuild. Got the rings and bearings for the parts house I gotta pick up. But let's get to it. Well, my phone decided to overheat during the removal of the engine, so all I have are clips of me trimming the engine stand to make it fit these little pieces right here where the bolts go through into the bell housing were too long. They were too long for these bell housing bolts, so I had to trim all those. We pressure washed the engine a little bit. May or may not have had some issues with the engine stand getting stuck in the mud. So that was a pain in the ass trying to get it out. So this is where we're at now. We got it on the stand and it's getting ready for tear down. I'm gonna have to cut these.
A few moments later.
Just got off work Monday afternoon. Finally can get back on the engine. Been waiting all day to start working on it. First thing first, gonna pull the valve covers, take a look at the valve train, pull this lower intake manifold off, and then I think I want to pull all the accessories and pulleys off today. At least the brackets that hold the compressor, power steering pump. I did notice that they did delete the smog pump, and they have just a I guess you can call it a idler pulley now with a special bracket, which I thought was pretty neat, so I won't have to worry about the smog. Gonna look at trying to get rid of this EGR valve too, because wasting my time and money. So let's get started tearing this thing apart. It's gonna be quite the challenge to get these heads cleaned up, get the valve springs and rockers looking brand new again. I really don't want to replace any of this. Kind of just want to reuse as much as I can, replace what's necessary, quick little re-ring and re-gasket to stop the oil from pouring out. And that way the motor doesn't exactly blow up into 18 billion pieces when I put the twin turbos on there. So let's go ahead and pull this intake off, get these injectors out of there, take a look at these. Shouldn't be too bad to get this intake off. Doesn't look like there's any major damage or anything, so I mean that's always a plus. Not the cleanest engine I've seen or worked on, but everything looks like it's in good shape. Like I said, I just gotta clean it up and we'll go from there. But I guess I'm gonna leave the valve train in for right now. I'm probably gonna work on taking that out tomorrow. I think today I'm just gonna go ahead and get the accessories off and just get down to a bare block with the heads and everything. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take each bracket off by itself and try and leave all the pulleys on the brackets as best as I can. I haven't looked at that one yet, but with the alternator and everything, it looks like there's a bolt there, that bolt, and looks like there's a bolt back on this side of this little smog delete, and the whole bracket assembly should pop right off. So let's go ahead and take those out. The AC compressor power steering, whoa, coming in hot, buddy boy. You good? What's up? Okay, oh God, oh. All right, nice to meet you too. Anyway, this bracket looks pretty simple too. Bolt there, and a bolt there. And looks like there was supposed to be a bolt there, and they didn't have one, so a lot of silicone was used, I guess. Love working behind a sloppy mechanic, it's my favorite. But I think those 3 bolts and AC compressor power steering pump should come off. Boom! Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Already looking so much better than when I pulled it out. Gonna have to get a special tool, pull the crankshaft pulley off. I think I'm gonna try and get this water pump off too real quick before I wrap up today. These are all the parts I got off so far. I got the bed of the truck filled. Gotta take, you know, the brackets, the valve covers, the intake, everything back to the shop, put it in the parts cleaner, try and get it cleaned up as best as I can and see what's worth reusing and what's worth replacing. So far everything looks like it's in pretty good shape to actually keep using it. Just got to get it cleaned up to make it look a little bit more presentable. Isn't that right, buddy? Fairly new, so it looks like they replaced it before I bought it, but missing a bolt there. Unless it's supposed to be a dowel pin, because that one doesn't have anything, but who knows what they did. I guess we'll find out as soon as we pull it off. did a little prying, pulled right out. I guess I was wrong. It does look like it's got dowel pins. I was just a little concerned the fact that there's gray RTV drooping down underneath the water pump, but yeah, it's been pretty heavily RTV'd. Gasket looks like it's seen better days. Looks like it was leaking here a little bit. You can tell by the corrosion. But I'm gonna need the pulley puller to get this crankshaft pulley up out the way, and then we can start working on getting the timing cover off, getting the valve train, all the rockers, valve springs out, get the push rods out, and start working on pulling these heads. I'm actually pretty happy with this engine so far, besides the fact that it took way too much effort to get out of the truck. The exhaust manifolds would not give me any room to budge off this head to get it out. So lesson learned, do not leave the exhaust manifolds on when pulling a 302 out of a 95, because by God, there was way too much effort involved. I feel like it would have almost been easier to just beat the ever-living shit out of those bolts to get them to come out, break off. I don't care. I mean, the exhaust manifolds are getting replaced anyway with the turbo headers that come with the kit. But like I said, pretty happy with it. I'm really excited to get these heads off, get the heads cleaned up. Once I get the oil pan off, the oil pump, everything, get it down to a bare block. I might leave the crankshaft in, and probably gonna take the camshaft out, take a look at that, see if there's any wear on it. I might replace the camshaft. That's 50-50. I got a good feeling gonna have to go to a double roller timing chain on it though. I can't even imagine how much slack is in this timing chain, because if I was a betting man, my bet would be that never ever been replaced. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm happy for it. It's going well. I think I decided to go ahead and leave the engine bay as it is. It doesn't look good at all. I'd really, if I had unlimited access to money, I would gut everything in here, repaint the firewall, repaint the fenders, make everything look spotless. But this isn't going to be a show car. I'm really just wanting to get it back in with the turbos on it. Buy a set of cheap tires so I can at least drive it without having to worry about the tires separating on me, and see how quick we can go through the tires. Buddy, it's hot, I know. I just want to show you guys, I'm a little OCD when it comes to taking bolts and stuff out. When I first started working on cars, it took me forever to remember where XYZ goes, which bolts go where. I'm not a fan of losing bolts or having to go to the hardware store to find a water pump bolt, so I get everything separated: exhaust manifold, flywheel, bell housing, intake, valve cover, brackets, water pump. Got all the gaskets over here on a nice clean paper towel, make sure we don't damage or get those dirty. Just make sure we got a nice, somewhat clean, organized space for building an engine. But hopefully tomorrow we'll get the pulleys off, the heads off, and get these heads to the shop and get them cleaned up. It's going to be quite the cleaning process with all these parts. I mean, just can't get over how much oil's all over everything. I mean, the intake's probably the worst. We pressure wash the valve covers a little bit, but you know, it is what it is. All right, buddy, you ready to go inside? Because I'm hot. I know you are too. Let's go.